Hello everyone, it's me Vars, and in this video, I'll be giving you a full update on the US weather, tropics, and an update on what's the pattern we're looking forward to in this upcoming winter. It's just a little teaser at the end, and I'm going to talk about when I'm going to be doing my first preliminary winter forecast. Most likely this weekend. I'll talk about it more towards the end of the video. If you do enjoy this video, please subscribe, like, and most definitely share it with your friends. Let's get right into it. So, right now we have the National Weather Service indices and alerts pulled up. And as of right now, it's relatively quiet in the U.S. We can break it down. But first, I usually only talk about the mainland U.S. But let's jump to Hawaii real quick. Right here, we have Hurricane Kiko. I'll show you guys that on the National Hurricane Center map shortly. Hurricane Kiko is making a close pass to the north. And the islands aren't directly under any tropical storm warnings, but the seas around it definitely are, and so there's still some direct impacts, especially happening towards these northerly islands and waters, so something to watch out for. I'll kind of get a little deeper into that in the coming minutes. Whereas the U.S., starting from the west, some flood watches, dense fog advisories, red flag warnings, and some special weather statements, all in the west. Very, very mixed weather. Up in the north, some dense fog advisories. Some notable weather is the severe thunderstorm watch and some warnings we have right here. Portions of western Kansas and eastern Colorado, where we have some severe weather going on, just a slight risk in place. Further south and east, we got some dense fog advisories for portions of Texas. And then to the east, we barely have anything except along some areas of the populated east coast. We have some coastal flood advisories lining the coast, likely due to some cloud cover and moisture we've been getting, mainly just restricted towards the coast though. Let's talk about the hurricanes, okay? And we're really going to start with the eastern Pacific because this is where it's getting active. Here's Hurricane Kiko, so it's expected to move in this general location. Matter of fact, let's get a little closer look at it. Let's do the wind speed probabilities. So here's Kiko right now. As you can see, the winds are also mostly northerly based, and so that kind of works in Hawaii's favor. It is traversing generally west-northwest. Forecasts were showing more of a direct impact earlier on, but since then Kiko's fortunately shifted north. However, still some very, very rough surf, winds, still actually some outer bands going on, but Kiko's relatively a small storm. As it continues, you can see some of the winds, 10% gets close in terms of tropical storm winds, but Hawaii is generally spared of the direct impacts. Now, if we go back, we have this one other disturbance I'm watching. Disturbance 1, 40% in the next 48 hours to develop and 80% in the next 7 days. Generally, also going to move west-northwest. Haven't looked at model guidance yet, but if it does become something substantial, we'll have to watch. I'd say monitor along portions of Mexico and maybe Baja California Sur. We'll have to watch and see where the storm goes. For now, it looks like more west-northwest and away. But if it does develop earlier, could get pretty close to portions of the western coast of Mexico. So that's the eastern Pacific. What about the Atlantic? No tropical cyclone expected in the next 7 days. There's definitely there are waves coming off Africa. However, we are in a very unfavorable MJO phase, or Madden-Julian oscillation, where we're having sinking air all throughout the main development region, especially around in this yellow area. And so any storm that does get some sort of oomph typically dies out once it heads more further west and into areas of the central and western Atlantic. So but in the coming weeks, it's expected to change and we should get into a more favorable phase that should allow rising air. So hurricane season isn't done quite yet. However, as of right now in the near term, doesn't look too active. Now, let's talk about let's talk about the U.S., okay? What's going on in the U.S. mainland weather, since tropics and severe weather is kind of boring right now. So, this is around current temperatures. Still have that lingering cool blast that came this weekend in the central and eastern U.S. In the west, very mixed. However, you do see some sort of negative PNA trying to take back over, and that should reflect that warmer air is headed for the central and portions of the eastern U.S., and so if we get that going, you do see that colder air, that warmer air take over towards the central U.S. We've been watching this a long time. Could be a small little heat wave. The west still stays kind of warm. It's very, again, mixed and temperate. And so we're going to watch that. Now, something interesting is we're having this constant easterly flow along the eastern seaboard that's kind of lingering this cooler air along the eastern seaboard and even a little bit inland. So we're going to have to see how long that sticks around. This is September 13th, so getting into this coming weekend. And so if we continue this forward, you can see it continues to linger even as heat builds in this west or central U.S. Still getting it lingered. It does start to get beat down a little, but this is by next week. And you can see even then still kind of lingering in for the mid-Atlantic, at least average in portions of the mid-Atlantic, central or Midwest, north or northeast, except New England, more warmer in southeast. Okay, this is far out, but still could get a general idea. And then heat generally starts to take over, and you can definitely see that negative PNA trying to take over, maybe just a coastal storm. We're going to watch, but it does look like some sort of moderation, at least, and I'd say these areas should at least moderate somewhat. And then I think the east should moderate as well, but probably just a little bit delayed as that cold air wants to stick around. Let's see. Yeah, eventually at the end of the model run, you see warmth basically across the entire U.S., barely even a negative PNA. Basically not at all. So basically warmth across the entire U.S. by September 24th. Again, 360 hours out, kind of unreliable, but I definitely think some sort of moderation period is coming, especially for the central U.S. In terms of the weather in the mainland U.S., nothing too interesting as of right now. Had this little coastal system that may develop, but it's going to be well off. That could be causing some showers along portions of the eastern seaboard, keeping it a little cooler. But generally, pretty typical. Some showers in the west. Nothing too impressive. Another little coastal. We will have to watch for some homegrown development as that cold front moves its way out. Could still maybe spin up something. But as of right now, it looks pretty unlikely. But again, still have to watch. Look at that. Some snow up in Atlantic Canada. Or further north, really in Canada. Here we have a little system in the central U.S. Okay, we're going to watch that. Possibly. But this is, again, kind of far out. And this is the GFS. And so nothing too active. I mean, it definitely looks active. But nothing notable, I'd say. Like, lots of showery weather in the west. Some disturbances decide to make it towards the east. So I have to watch. It's been generally dry in the east. So once we get, I'd say, towards the later part of September, maybe we see an uptick in moisture and precipitation. And I'm going to do this on the fly. I kind of want to go to the eastern Pacific. If I can, yep. And I want to see what that disturbance we want to talk about. I feel like I haven't really talked about the tropics and the Pacific. Just kind of want to show some attention to my guys over here. And so, okay, so there's that disturbance we're watching. GFS kind of wants to get a little bit of development going. By Friday, this will probably be when it makes its closest pass to the western Mexico, the coastline right here. So we'll have to see if it does develop more rapidly. Could have some direct impacts. But as of right now, it looks like it's going to stay just offshore. I mean, here's the shoreline right here. So just offshore. Still could cause some beach erosion and stuff. But it doesn't really get its act going until it gets out. Okay, and then we'll have to watch from there. And then again, behind it, another storm we may need to watch. And it's a continuous wave train, definitely active in the Eastern Pacific compared to the Atlantic as of right now. Now, last thing I want to talk about is the Nino 3.4 index. If you remember at the end of my videos last year, towards this time frame, I always took a look at the Nino 3.4, gave you guys an update. And so this really gives us an idea if we'll get an El Nino, La Nina, or ENSO neutral, okay, which is kind of in the middle. So I'll break it down since the first video back. An ENSO neutral are values in between positive 0.5 Celsius and negative 0.5 Celsius. Okay, sorry, those lines are really bad. But anywhere I'd say between generally these two lines would be an ENSO neutral phase, okay? Once you get below this negative, here, let's kind of color code it up a little. Once you get below this light blue line, I wrote right here. And then, if you get above this, sorry, this is so inaccurate. I mean, not so inaccurate, but 0.5, it's right in through here. I wish they had a 0.5. Kind of decimal right here, but there you go. 0.5. So if you get below this light blue line, you are in La Nina state. If you get above this pink or hot pink line, you're in El Nino state. La Nina below average, El Nino above average. Right now, we are at negative 0.744, which is a weak La Nina. If it passes -1, it's a moderate, and then anything below 1.5 is typically strong. Same goes for El Nino. So we're gonna keep watching this. As of right now, winter is expected to end up around a cool ENSO neutral phase. So somewhere between 0.5, maybe a little lower, maybe a little higher, just somewhere around that weak La Nina to ENSO neutral territory. So we're gonna watch that. If that does happen, we could have a very different winter compared. I mean, there's definitely other factors I'll deep dive into when we really start getting closer to winter and those start to evolve. But this is one thing we can start looking at. And you can see how we've had a constant trend towards La Nina. Expect that to continue. I mean, you might have these little blips, but expect this to continue towards around November, late November, and then we're going to start rebounding up. So we could have some more La Nina conditions when we get later into December and January. And then, especially late January, especially February and early portions of March, we'll have those ENSO neutral conditions. Well, throughout March, as ENSO neutral is also predicted for next spring and summer. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Just wanted to do a nice little video. I'm going to start doing more uploads every other day. Today was kind of basic, but just want to get back in the groove. School has started, so this is my first video generally back since school. And I talked about the winter outlook. I'm going to try to make one this weekend. I don't know if it will be posted this weekend. I'm going to be working on it. Maybe Monday I might post it. But I'll let you guys know for sure. It's going to be very preliminary. Might not be one of those fancy maps you see. Maybe I'll make one for fun, but it'll mainly be in patterns, oscillations that we're already monitoring. And I'm going to see what happens for this winter. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video, which will be about 2 days, or 1 day technically, after tomorrow. So today's a Tuesday, my time. So Thursday, I'll see you guys next. And then this weekend, I could have a special winter outlook. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you guys in the next one, and have a great rest of your day.